Well, hey, friends, how are you? I hope that you are having a great day. Hey, I have a question for you. Do you like to swim? I know some of you do. Do you enjoy water? Well, I also know some of you do that too. Do you enjoy deep water? Well, if you know how to swim, you probably don't mind deep water, but I don't like deep water. Partly because I don't know how to swim. So whenever I get in the water and I can't touch the bottom, or I can't feel the ground or the bottom of the pool or whatever I'm in with my feet, I get scared. And I desperately search for something to hold on to because it scares me. And so I hold on for dear life. So, like this rope, if I were in the bottom of a pool or if I were in water, in deep water, and my feet wouldn't touch the bottom, I'd be scared and I would definitely be looking for a rope to hold on to because I would hold on for dear life because I like my life and I'm scared of water. So I'd be holding on for dear life because of my fear. Have you ever been so scared that you've held on to something for dear life? To hold on for dear life, this phrase refers to holding on to something very tightly as if your life depended on it, just as if I were swimming or in water and not swimming. To save myself from drowning, I would definitely grab a hold of a rope or something that somebody might throw to me to pull me out. We could use this as an example. The hiker grabbed a root as she fell off the cliff and had to hold on for dear life while she waited for the rescue crew. So a rope or hanging on for dear life can be life-saving. There's also another way we use this hold on for dear life phrase. We could say this about Jeff. When the dentist motioned us back into the examination room, Jeff clutched his chair and held on for dear life. In other words, it was a reaction of something that wasn't going right and he was a bit scared, and so he just clenched and he held on. Holding on for dear life can also be our reaction when life falls apart, when things aren't going right for us, and we desperately need something to grab as we weather the storm so we don't fall apart as well, and we look for things to hold on to. Now, in my house, I have this hanging in one of the rooms that I spend a good bit of my time in the morning when I'm getting ready. You know, the bathroom. Yeah, in the morning, this is hanging actually in my bathroom, and it's always a good start to my day. It says, Lord, help me hang in there. That's right. And if you can see, there's some hands right here that are just holding on for dear life. Lord, help me hang in there. That reminds me of the story from the Bible about walking on the water. Now, did you ever walk on the water? No, me neither. I would sink, and again, I would have to grab a rope and hold on for dear life. Well, do you remember in the Bible there's a reference to two people who walked on the water? Who were they? Right, Jesus was one, and the other person was Peter. Exactly right, the disciple Peter. And we find that story in Matthew chapter 14, and here's how it went. Jesus made the disciples get into the boat. He had them go on ahead of him to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, and then he sent the crowd away. After he had sent the crowd away, Jesus went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was there alone. And the boat was already out a long way from land. It was being pounded by the waves because the wind was blowing against it. Well, shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to the disciples and he walked on the lake. And they saw him walking on the lake, on the water, and they were terrified. Sure, it's a ghost, they said, and they cried out in fear. Well, right away, Jesus called out to them and said, be brave, don't be afraid, it's me. And Peter said, Lord, is it really you? If it is, then tell me to come out to you on the water. So Jesus said, come on, Peter. So Peter got out of the boat and he walked on the water towards Jesus. Wow. But when Peter looked around and saw the wind and the waves, he was afraid and he began to sink and he cried out, Lord, save me. And right away, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. Oh, Peter, your faith is so small, he said. Why did you doubt me? When they climbed into the boat, the wind died down, and those in the boat, the disciples, worshiped Jesus, and they said, you really are the Son of God. So Peter lost his focus. He was starting to feel afraid and troubled, and Jesus became his rope. that he hung on to. Jesus reached out his hand and grabbed a hold of Peter. When we feel afraid or when we get into trouble, we often cry out for help. We might even ask for help for someone, sort of like grabbing onto a rope and hanging on. And there may be people around us who can do that and provide that help for us. And that's always good. We also know that God is always with us and he helps us to hold on. Sometimes he even provides the rope that we grab a hold of and that we are rescued by, or that we can at least keep from our feet touching the bottom when we're swimming. I would need a rope, again, if I were in the deep end of a swimming pool or in a lake or a river that was deeper than I am tall, a little scared. And that's where I count on people helping me with a rope or God's presence through the Spirit in his life, just like this says, Lord, help me hang in there. Well, I hope that you can hang in there today and that you have a day that's filled with joy, and that if you need a rope, if you need something to hold on to for dear life, look for it. God will provide. Have a day filled with peace.